Shalom Israel, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Most High God Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Mashiach, Yahushua. It's going to be a real quick video, just a couple precepts. But today's quick video, I'm going to go over, was Christ Solomon? You know, now in this video, I'm going to touch on Adam a little bit. I'm going to touch on Adam in the very first beginning, simply because I have more precepts on Christ being Solomon than I do on Christ being Adam. So when you're going through and you're looking through and figuring out if somebody was so and so in regeneration in the scriptures, you'd have to see a couple of comparisons and a couple of them, like, you know, kind of looking similar, like they kind of had a similar kind of spirit to them, or so on and so forth. Or it's just gonna tell you plain as day, just like Christ. It's like Christ said John the Baptist was Elijah to come, you know. So if we all been in the truth, we should understand the concept of regeneration. But quick precept that I want to get, it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. This is saying what it's saying right here. This is literally saying what it's saying. This is 1 Corinthians 15:45. And so it is written, the first man Adam was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. So we got two Adams right here. First man Adam was made a living soul, and we know that dealing with the first man Adam. Here, let me get it real quick. This is 2 Ezra chapter 3 and verse 5. It says, and gavest the body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hand, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. So we got that as the first Adam, the first man Adam. Now let's see who the last Adam was. He says he was made a quickening spirit. Let's see. This is John 6:63. It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. So Christ said it is the spirit that quickeneth. It is the spirit that maketh alive. But he said the words that I speak unto you. Let me go ahead and grab it again. So like I dropped it, because I ain't trying to paraphrase it wrong. He says, the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. So that's that last man Adam being made a quickening spirit. But let's prove it that that's the last man Adam. I'm gonna keep going. 1 Corinthians 15:46. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual. So we got the first man Adam being natural, you know, being earthy, being fleshy, being more carnal than the last man Adam. It says, and afterward that which is spiritual. And we see the spiritual side of it, we have Yahushua. Now we know Yahushua is dealing with a lot of things on the spiritual aspect, and we're gonna get more into that when I start going into Solomon. But verse 47, it says, the first man is of the earth, earthy, and the second man is the Lord from heaven. That's saying what it's saying. The first man is of the earth, earthy, and the second man is the Lord from heaven. So you got the first man Adam, just going all the way back to the very beginning. You got the second man Adam, which is Christ. Both of them are Christ, though. If you if you have ears to hear, they are both Yahushua. But Yahushua came in the form of Adam. He came as Adam before he came as the anointed one, before he came as the Mashiach, or before he came as Yahushua himself. You know, he came and he hit the scene with the name of Adam. Now, let me grab another one. This is Luke 3:38. Which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. Now we know Yahushua to be the son of God, and we look at the precept. Adam was the son of God. If I just said that correctly, I said we know that Yahushua is the son of God, and we look at the precept, we just seen that Adam is the son of God. Also, there's a precept in 2nd Ezra. There's a precept in 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra 6:54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and all the people also whom thou hast chosen. So you got Adam, who is Lord over all the creatures. Men are considered creatures as well. He was Lord over all these creatures. Yahushua is what? Lord over all these things, Lord over all these creatures. But check this out. It says, of whom come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. So out of Adam, we were made. But guess what? That was on a earthly kind of explanation, you know. In a carnal way, we were made through Adam. But let me get it. But we were also made by Yahushua on a spiritual level as well. It says Colossians 1:15, who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have the preeminence. So this is going into Christ. Through Adam we all come. You know, we was all created through Adam. Everybody will tell you that. We all come from Adam, right? But check this out. We all also come from Yahushua, because he's the one who created us. Adam being Yahushua before he came as the name of Yahushua, if that's not confusing to understand. But that's all the precepts I want to get on Adam. Now I want to get to the main topic, which is Solomon. So I'm going to get into it. I'm not going to try to be too long. This is 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 12. This is 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 12. For my information, I'm going to start it. I'm going to get context. I'm going to start at 3. 2 Samuel 7 and 3. And Nathan said to the king, go do all that is in thine heart, for the Lord is with thee. And it came to pass that night that the word of the Lord came unto Nathan, saying, go and tell my servant David, thus saith the Lord, shalt thou build an house for me to dwell in. So you got Nathan getting a vision, going to tell David something. Jump down to verse 8. Now therefore so shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote and from following the sheep to be a ruler of my people Israel. Now jump down. Remember, he's talking to David. Verse 12. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. Who's the one that was reigning after David had passed? You have King Solomon, which is his son. Verse 13. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Did Solomon's throne and did his kingdom last forever? No. So there's obviously going into something else. But it says he shall build an house for my name. We know that Solomon built the temple. We know he built the tabernacle, so on and so forth. But check this out. That was on a carnal level. Who came and built up the temple the second time? Not the second time, Salakia. Who came and built up the final temple, or is in process of building up the final temple? Or I should say the spiritual temple. Let's just call it that. Who's in the process of building up the spiritual temple, which we know is Yahweh Shah, which is building up the spiritual temple. But before I grab that, I'm going to keep reading. I just want to hold on to it. Salakia. Come on, let's get back to it. Verse 14, Salakia. Remember, during the breakdown of Adam, it says that Adam was earthy, but the second man, Adam, was of the spirit, was made a quickening spirit. You know, the first man was carnal, but the second is spiritual. You know, so it's kind of going like that back and forth throughout the Old Testament and the New Testament. Old Testament kind of more on a carnal level. New Testament is dealing more on the spiritual level. In retrospect and aspect, there are a lot of spiritual things that's in the Old Testament. I'm not saying there's nothing spiritual in the Old Testament, not at all. I'm just saying we have more insight on the spiritual from the New Testament. We get more understanding on the spiritual things that's in the Old Testament from the New Testament, and we get more understanding on the spiritual things from Christ, which taught us that, you know. But let's get back. This is 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 14. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. This is the Most High talking. He said, I will be his father, and he shall be my son. That's a hint right there. It says, if he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of man, and with stripes of the children of men. Now, you got to ask yourself, did Solomon commit iniquity? The answer would be yes. He gave his heart over to women of the other nations, which caused him to go into idolatry. Everybody should know about the transgression or the sin of Solomon. This is 1 Kings chapter 11 and verse 9. And the Lord was angry with Solomon because his heart was turned from the Lord God of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice. And he commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods. But he kept not that which the Lord commanded. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. So Solomon committed iniquity, and Solomon's punishment right there was that the kingdom would get rendered, which means the kingdom was split. We know that there's a northern kingdom and a southern kingdom, which Yahweh Shah was sent to repair. He was sent to bring back to one the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. This is a lot of similarities between both of these people. But we see that his punishment was not recorded right here. 2 Samuel 7:14, I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, he did, I will chasten him with the rod of man and with the stripes of the children of men. Now, Solomon never got chastised with the rod of man. Neither was he beaten with the stripes of the children of men. But somebody was. Christ, Yahweh Shah. He was. But, verse 15, it says, but my mercy shall not depart away from him. I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee. Verse 16, and thine house and thine kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. Now the throne will be established forever through Yahweh Shai, of course. Now, let's go to Psalms chapter 72. Psalms chapter 72. Now, when you read in the Psalms chapter 72, this is a psalm for Solomon. So it's going to be talking about Solomon. Let's just get into a couple verses. Psalm 72 and 5. They shall fear thee as long as the sun and moon endure throughout all generations. Now, it says, they shall fear thee. When Solomon was on the scene, he was reigning as a peaceable king. You know, Solomon, he was reigning in a peaceable time. Solomon's name actually means peace, which is another hint to him being Yahweh Shai, because there's Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. The Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and the peace, there shall be no end. It says there shall be no end to the peace. Upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. This is talking about Yahweh Shai. Now it says it shall be no peace during his time. Salakia. It shall be peace enduring forever whenever Christ is in rulership. Solomon was a representation of that, because Solomon ruled 40 years and he reigned in a peaceable time. And his name means peace. And we just read in Isaiah 9 and 6 that the child that is being born, which is Christ, or which is Yahweh Shai, he shall be called the Prince of Peace. Now, let's get back to Psalm 72 and 5. They shall fear thee as long as the sun and moon endure throughout all generations. The sun and moon has endured for I don't know how long. Not everybody knows Solomon, though. Everybody doesn't know Solomon. Everybody doesn't fear Solomon. I'm going to jump down to verse 7. In his days shall the righteous flourish in abundance of peace, so long as the moon endureth. The moon is still here. Peace is not on earth. So this has to be talking about something in the future. This has to be talking about somebody else. How can it be talking about somebody else when this is a psalm for Solomon, though? That's because Solomon is Yahweh Shai. It's talking about the time that Yahweh Shai will reign. Now, we do see some things in here that's actually talking about the time of Solomon, of course. But let's go to verse 8. He shall have dominion also from sea to sea, and from the river unto the ends of the earth. Solomon didn't have dominion over the whole earth. Yahweh Shai will. Verse 9. They that dwell in the wilderness shall bow before him, and his enemies shall lick the dust. Solomon didn't have enemies during his time. You know, if he did, they weren't out battling like that. I haven't seen a record of it. But if they did, his enemies didn't lick the dust. I can guarantee that right now. I can show you that right now. Not show you, but I can guarantee you that right now. What is it? Verse 11. Yea, all the kings shall fall down before him. All nations shall serve him. All nations didn't bow down before Solomon. All nations did not serve Solomon. Verse 14. He shall redeem their soul. Key word. He shall redeem their soul from deceit and violence, and precious shall be their blood. It's like it. And precious shall their blood be in his sight. So we know who was sent to redeem us, which is Yahweh Shai. Now, we know that Solomon is the one who built the physical temple, which Christ built the spiritual temple. Let's grab that. This is John chapter 2. John chapter 2, verse 19. John chapter 2, verse 19. Yahusha answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Then said the Jews, 46 years was this temple in building, and wilt thou rear it up in 3 days? But he spake of the temple of his body. He spake of the temple of his body, going into a more spiritual temple, you know, going into the church, going into it's a lot of different things that you can go into when you're dealing with the spiritual temple. Now, all of it is basically a direct resemblance of the physical temple, of course. Hebrews 9:1. Then verily the first covenant had ordinances of divine service, a worldly sanctuary. Now, why does it say a worldly sanctuary? We see that just like I said before, it was earthy. It was the first man, Adam, that was earthy, and the second was more of the spirit. That's how a lot of things work. A lot of things was more physical and carnal. Then you got the spiritual side. Just like Christ was a the law was a schoolmaster. Then Christ came. You know, we're no longer under the schoolmaster. What is that going into? The schoolmaster was there to teach us how to look at things, how to observe things, how to do things. But Christ came and he gave us a better understanding on it, you know. He gave us a clearer understanding on how the law works, how there's a spirit behind the law. We didn't see that back in the day. Christ came and showed us a lot of different things. But, let me keep going. Hebrews 9:2, for there was a tabernacle made, the first wherein was the candlesticks, and the table, and the showbread, which is called the sanctuary. Now, what is the candlesticks and all this stuff represent? I'm going to just get a quick precept because I'm not trying to go too deep into this. This is Revelations 1:20. The mystery of the 7 stars, which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks, which thou sawest, are the 7 churches. So, that's just a quick precept on that, just to show you that there's a spiritual aspect behind the candlesticks. It says, and after the second veil, the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all. Now you got that veil. What is that veil? Or veil, I should say. Hebrews 10:20, by a new and living way, which he hath consecrated for us through the veil, which is to say his flesh, which is going into Christ's flesh. Now, reason why I brought all this stuff up is because the topic was Christ Solomon? The answer is yes. Solomon built the temple, so did Christ. Not saying that everybody that builds the temple is Christ. I'm not saying that, but through the precepts we get understanding, and through all of these precepts, it's no other way to conclude that Christ isn't Solomon. It says that his dominionship and his throne shall be from the sun to the moon. As long as the sun and moon endure, so on and so forth. It's just an abundance of precepts. If brothers want to get more understanding on it, I would advise going to WFI Watching for Israel. They do Brother Naquan does a beautiful breakdown. A lot of them brothers, actually, Araya, all them brothers do a beautiful breakdown on regeneration and on what Christ was, on who was he in the past regenerations or reincarnations, whatever you want to call it, They can break it down way better than I ever could, It's just somebody asked that I have precepts on it. So I'm giving you the precepts that I have on Christ being Adam and on Christ being Solomon. Now, I know this may be something hard for people to get, or hard for people to understand, or it may be even hard for people to accept. But it is what it is, Scriptures is the scriptures. Really can't do too much about it. Forgot one more precept on Christ being Adam. Got one more precept on Christ being Adam, and then I'll go ahead and close it. This is Romans chapter 5, verse 17. For if by one man's offense a death reigned by one, much more they which receive abundance of grace and of gift of righteousness shall reign in life by one, Yahushua Mashiach. It says, so by one man's offense death reigned, but in the other man life shall reign, which is Christ. Verse 19, I'm gonna jump down to verse 19. It says, for as by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one man shall many be made righteous. So by the disobedience of one man, all men became sinners. You can read about that in 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 7, verse 11. Because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. There are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. So the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure. Basically, it was long life. Everybody had a long life back then. This was talking about immortal fruit. But now we know that the entrances are made narrow. You know, it's made really, really small to get to life. Also in this chapter, it also speaks about Yahushua. You know, you can take that as a coincidence or not. But it says for Romans 5 and 19, for as by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous. So through the obedience of Christ, many shall be made righteous. Lord willing, somebody was edified. But with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Amashak, Yahushua. Shalom.